Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Eastern Kentucky road crews prepare for potential icy conditions on the roads, and Kentucky power crews get ready to see outages in certain areas here in the Commonwealth with the latest round of wintry weather.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. I'm Dakota Makris, and it's 6 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Thanks for waking up with us, and let's take it over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. And Brandon, what you all have been forecasting now for about a week, it seems like, is finally here.
Exactly.
So,
we started previewing this on Monday, Dakota, kind of getting everything together. We put our first call out for snow and ice, or for ice and freezing rain there on Tuesday, and now here it is. It's Thursday, and it's here, and we're going to see some action-packed forecast as we head into the first part of the weekend. Let's take a look, see what's going on right now on live pinpoint Doppler radar. And you see that we're looking at some heavier bands moving out of eastern Kentucky into southern West Virginia this morning, and out of Kentucky into southwest Virginia this morning. So just be careful out there. Some of the area getting a brief break in the action before more of it starts to move in a little bit later today. Temperatures close to 50 or just below it there in most of the area, but you see Irvin at 47, Lexington at 39. That's literally where the cold front is this morning, and it's going to move into our region a little bit later on. Already down to 28 in Paducah this morning, 31 in Owensboro, and you see those colors back there toward the gray and the white. That's teens and even single digits. So again, just be aware of that is heading our way. It's Arctic air. 56 is our forecast high if we make it. 46 is the average high. 69 is the record set back on this date in 2020, 2 years ago today. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, Kentucky appears to be moving in the right direction in the fight against the latest Omicron surge. The state added more than 7,400 new cases yesterday and 21 new deaths. The positivity rate is down again to 26.78%. Hospitalizations and patients in the ICU were both up yesterday, but the number of patients on a ventilator is down. Well, Governor Andy Beshear declared a state of emergency ahead of the winter storm. Dangerous to impossible travel conditions are expected, and ice damage to trees and power lines may cause outages. He closed state offices and asks people to stay off the roads. An executive order accompanies the declaration to protect Kentuckians from price gouging.
If everything holds to where it is right now, this is the real deal. It is dangerous. People need to be prepared. And need to be prepared, especially to stay off the roads tomorrow and potentially be ready to deal with this emergency for the next several days.
Before the winter weather arrives, parts of our region will be under a flood watch. Well, the new year started with flooding and snowstorms, and the winter weather shows no signs of slowing down. And this latest system could pose a number of problems for our road crews. A roulette wheel of weather to start the new year.
In our area, seems like it's going to start out mostly as heavy rain, which causes flooding issues, may cause mudslides, rock slides, that kind of thing.
And that rain will transition into freezing rain beginning Thursday night and heading into Friday morning, meaning crews cannot pre-treat roads ahead of time. They add once roads begin to freeze. Bridges and overpasses will be treated first.
Basically, all we can do is just when things start freezing up to get out with the salt trucks as quick as we can and get a coat of salt down to start melting the ice.
H.B. Elkins with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 10 says you cannot plow ice, and even their equipment will struggle if a sheet forms.
Especially if we get a really thick coating of ice, which we're not expecting in our 10 counties as much as the counties to our north and our northwest are expecting.
Speaking of ice, Elkins says it will cause issues with power lines, saying gusty winds and weight can bring lines down.
We have to wait for the power companies to come and take care of those before we can get the roads clear.
Urging drivers to stay home. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. Elkins says their melting agents become ineffective when temperatures dip closer to single digits. Well, heavier ice is expected in parts of central Kentucky, and that is why Scott County officials are preparing for the worst, expecting travel troubles, power outages, downed trees, and more, hoping the lessons they learned after the ice storm of 2009 will pay off now. No matter what happens, they say they are as ready as they can be for what is ahead. And Kentucky Power crews are also prepping for the expected winter storm. With ice in the forecast, Kentucky Power spokesperson Cindy Wiseman says they think the highest risk areas are in the northern parts of the company's territory, not so much in the Pikeville and Hazard areas. She says she does not expect this storm to be as bad as last February's ice storms, but she does expect some outages.
Knowing that there's some grid hardening that we can do, we can use different types of materials in our poles and our wires. And so we started doing that to protect us from ice.
Wiseman said if your power does go out, restoration times can vary due to various factors like how hazardous driving conditions can be and even flooding. She says Kentucky Power has a helicopter on standby to help assess the damage. Well, Big Sandy RECC is also preparing for potential power outages, working to stock up and roll out as needed. Our buddy Forbes dropped in to see crews laying the groundwork to hit the ground running.
Big Sandy RECC crews are packing up.
We got to make sure all of our trucks are stocked and make sure we got plenty of help.
And rolling out.
It's hitting the hills because most of our line is in the, up in the hills.
As winter weather rolls in.
Monitoring the weather forecast, and we're constantly checking for updates to the forecast.
Workers are preparing for some long nights ahead as they plan to keep the members connected with the threat of ice covering the forecast.
Our pickups, we call them a rolling warehouse. We try to keep a little bit of everything on our truck.
From the blaring signals to behind the scenes, with more hands waiting in line.
We have line crews on standby that are ready to come and render mutual aid.
But officials say workers should not be the only people preparing for the fallen trees and outages.
Keep a small supply of food and water, a radio and a flashlight, obviously.
Urging, among other things, generator safety.
And if they're not used safely, it can introduce a hazard to our linemen working in the field.
And though they do not expect as significant an impact as the ice storm last year, linemen still ask for your patience in the event of outages, saying everyone has one mission.
If I can turn the lights on, if it's just one person or if it's 100, it makes me happy.
Keeping people safe and the power streaming. In Johnson County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, officials say it is important to keep an eye on your neighbors in times of harsh weather and power outages and to make sure you are reporting any electrical issues to the company. Well, if and when your power does go out, officials say there are wrong ways to heat your home. They recommend fireplaces and candles indoors instead of generators, which are supposed to be kept outdoors, and to keep emergency blankets handy as well. Natasha Collins with Kentucky Utilities also warned against improperly heating your home and recommends sealing up spaces in doorways and windows to hold as much warm air into your home as possible.
Just making sure that where the cold air has an opportunity to seep in and the warm air get out, that you've sealed it up so that it's helping your furnace to operate as efficiently as possible.
Well, officials add that down power lines will be dealt with on a priority basis from most to least dangerous. Collins says you can find more tips on their website at ready.gov. Well, we have more local snow coverage and the latest closings on the WYMT News app. If you have not downloaded the app, just hold your phone up to your screen, to the code on your screen. This will take you to a link to our news app that you can download. You can always find the latest closings and delays along with breaking news alerts. We encourage you to download both the WYMT News and weather app. Certainly something handy to have. As many across Perry County experienced another day without water on Wednesday, officials with the City of Hazard Utilities say relief could be on the horizon. They announced in a Facebook post they are now working to push water out to multiple parts of the county. People in communities along Highway 80 like Elk Run and Hardburley may have water, while people in the northern part of the county and homes around Grapevine and the Wendell Ford Airport have water in the area, but a leak is disrupting its return to people's homes.
It's 10 on the money this morning, and we were tracking the rain across parts of the area. Let's take a look and see what's going on right now. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, and you can see heavy bands moving out but more trying to replace it coming out of central Kentucky, and that cold front just off in the distance there where you see those purples and pinks and blues back off toward Ohio and back into Indiana as well this morning. Temperatures already in the 30s in central Kentucky, but still in the 40s and 50s here in our neck of the woods. But you see across the state and region, it's dropping quickly out there. 28 Paducah, 31 Owensboro, and 37 in Bowling Green. 56 this afternoon. If we make it, rain could be heavy at times. That will transition over to some freezing rain later today from north and west to south. And we'll see some significant icing possible as we head into the nighttime hours there. But as we can hold on just a little bit longer, skies will clear this weekend. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you so much. At 6:10, more news is on the way. President Joe Biden is determined to deal with gun crime in the nation's most populated cities. That's next.